Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Pull on the Call podcast. My name is Mandy Mac.
Hey, and I'm Cris Rivers.
Yay! And today we are super excited because we are here with the amazing pole coach, pole competitor, pole studio owner, MetroMikee.
Hey y'all, it's so good to be here. I didn't ever expect to be on a pole dance podcast, so like we're literally making my dreams come true. Thank you for having me.
Hey, our pleasure.
Oh, yay! Right, we're super
I'm so
excited for
excited
you
to
to
make this.
share your story.
Well, let me
Nice.
just jump right in then and tell everyone a little bit about myself. So, my name is Mikee. I'm also known as MetroMikee as my stage name. That's my social media handles. I kind of have that on lockdown because I it took me a long time to figure out who I was. So I just went ahead and stuck it right in my name. I'm Mikee with two E's. The two E's stand for the environment and everyone. Those are the two things that I care about most. So I am a pole dance artist for, I believe, 12 years. In August was my 12th year of pole dance. So I have been just trying to stay focused and keep my skills and grow my skills. I have been a business owner for 11 years now. My full-time job, because we all know pole doesn't always pay all the bills. My full-time job is a salon owner. I opened my first salon in June 2013, and I was teaching at a dance studio that's no longer in business. So I had to kind of make a hard choice of focusing on my career until I could get to the point in November 2021, after the craziness of pandemic was starting to die down, that I could finally open my own pole dance and aerial art studio. So, pole dancer for 12 years, salon owner for 11 years, business owner for 11 years, but pole dance studio owner for 2 years. We celebrate 3 years in November coming up. So, that's a little bit about me.
Yay, congrats. OMG, so many things celebrating. Your pole anniversary just passed. Now your studio anniversary is coming up. Congrats on all of that.
Yes, right. Isn't your
Thank you so
birthday
much.
this month as well?
My birthday is this month,
Oh
so
my
I will
goodness, just
be
throwing it out there,
older
baby.
than the dinosaurs at 37.
No, we are in our prime. We are in our prime.
You're like, that's so young.
It really is. Like honestly, I actually was talking to a few clients and friends this week about how exciting it is at this point we can, extend the modern lifespan to 100, 110, 100. I was like, by the time I'm 120, I'm going to keep doing pole dance. I'm going to work my booty off. I can maybe make it to 150. So this is just like the baby years for MetroMikee.
Yes, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So now let's dive deeper into your story. What started your pole journey 12 years ago?
So I have always been active in sports. Like even in school at 9, I started soccer. I did baseball for 7 years. I was in marching band, which is honestly one of the hardest things that I've ever done. And that kind of fostered me into a life of going to the gym and bicycling, and running is not my favorite thing, but a couple people try to get me to do a race. So like I've kind of been active my whole life. But my one girlfriend, love her to death, was also getting into a fitness kick, and she went to a bachelorette party, unbeknownst to me, and was like, Mikee, you love working out. There's a little playground in my apartment complex. Why don't you come work out with me? And then we can, make a healthy dinner afterwards. So I was like, yeah, that sounds great. There happened to be a fireman's pole at this apartment complex playground. And looking back, I'm like, man, I hope none of the neighbors were like watching out the window judging us, but I was over here doing push-ups and sit-ups and crunches and some calisthenics things, and she was on the fireman's pole trying to practice the things she learned at this bachelorette party. And I was like, hold up, this is looking freaking awesome. Can I do this? And she's like, oh yeah, I'm going to teach you how to get into the forward spin pretzel. And I was like, okay, let's do that. So it was like that was pretty easy. What else can you show me? And she was like, oh, I'm going to teach you how to invert. And I was like, oh, I can do that. But like, can I climb up and do it? And she was like, you can aerial invert. I was like, I don't know what that means, but let's try. And I did. And she's like, I'm going to tell you about the hardest thing that we saw. It's called a shoulder mount. And unbeknownst to her, I could already do a shoulder mount. So she's like, this is crazy. I need to show you to the studio owner. So she set up a meeting. I went into the studio at that time. The owner was like, hey, I heard you can do an aerial invert. I was like, I think I remember what that was. And I climbed up the pole and I did an aerial invert. She's like, I also heard you can shoulder mount. And I shoulder mounted. And she's like, you are hired. And I was like, what? Like, excuse you? And she's like, yeah, you can hire, I'm totally hiring you. You are going to be so perfect at this. I'm going to give you a 2-week intensive training course. And then you can teach, classes on Tuesday and Thursday. And I was like, why? So fast forward to the 2-week training course, which ended up being go to the studio, uh, uh, plug my phone into the speaker, put on Katy Perry's Roar, which is the first song I ever pole danced to. She got a phone call. She was like, okay, just work on things. I'll be right back. And she never came back. And so like an hour and a half later, I was like exhausted because I had never used my pole muscles before. And so I just kind of left the studio and I didn't even know where she was. And then I started teaching like next week. So, not the greatest entry into pole dance. I've come a long way since then, but that's my beginning story.
That's so funny.
I can't make it up, you know?
Well, I'm not sure I would use any of that advice for my training program that I'm trying to do at our studio.
Caveat, that is also not the training program that I use at my studio. So, throughout my career over the last 12 years, I have failed forward many times to hopefully do things a little bit better and appreciate everybody else who also does things a little bit better than that.
Right, but how amazing for her to have seen the potential in you because obviously you were made to do that.
I'm so thankful and honored and humbled that I got that. Something I didn't mention is I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. It's not known as a pole dance capital of the world. So I was just humbly thankful to have gotten this experience to then go on and create the studio that I have, the certifications, that I require in my studio for myself and for other junior instructors. And we started with 0 medals on the wall, and we're up to 7 medals and a trophy because I competed in level 5 pro division for the first time. So it's crazy how far we've come.
Hell yeah, love it so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And more to come.
Yes.
We are already gearing up for the next competition season, so you just wait.
Oh my gosh. Let's talk about your competitions then. What can you tell us which competitions you've done? Maybe some memorable moments.
Yes. So when I opened my studio, I was blessed to have one of the first students who showed up was a lady from Venezuela who had been doing pole dance before, and danced with some relatively well-known people, at least in the Latin America scene. One of her instructors went on to teach in Spain at a well-known studio. I can't remember exactly what it is. Her name is Karen. Shout out to Karen. But she was interested in coming to my studio and she was interested in competing. I was also interested in competing. I just didn't think that was going to become a part of my studio story as early as it did. So I opened my studio in November. She joined probably December-ish. We had a birthday party for her in January, and she's like, I'm serious, Mikey, let's do it. Unbeknownst to me, we were training. We had worked on, things for her, things in a doubles routine that we performed just at a small in-house showcase. And then she came to me and she's like, I signed up for PSO US Nationals for level 3 championship. And I was like, oh, when is that? I have another business, so it's not easy for me to take off as a coach. Or I missed the registration deadline. She's like, you should compete too. I was like, too late for that already. And like, hopefully I can get off work to come with you as your coach. And I was able to shuffle things around, get off for the weekend. She performed her routine at level 3 US Nationals for championship and won a gold medal. And I was like, okay, I see this. So now my studio is like an award-winning, a medal-winning studio. I guess we have to pick up the pace. So that was our first year in business and the first competition. The next year, I did my first competition at DC, PSO Atlantic, 2023, and I won my first bronze medal. So that was really cool. I had to compete at level 4, which I felt confident in my handsprings and 2 points of contact moves to do. I just never imagined that I would win a medal at my first one. So did that. We went to PSO Liberty. I competed at that, but I was there to help show the other competitors from my studio like what a coach should do. So I was much more focused on them. So even though I competed, I did not medal. And I was like, my head wasn't here in the competition. My head was here for the students. So one of my students got a silver medal. And so we had this thing in the studio where it was like, we're going to do competitions. We're going to aim for one medal at each competition, in whatever category, whoever. And now we have bumped that. The last competitions we did for 2024 season, we have gotten at least 2 medals per competition. So, our trajectory is positive. We're growing through all the adversity, and hopefully we're going to up the ante for 2025.
Love it. And you were also a judge as well.
I did have my first time judging at PSO Liberty 2024, which looking back, it was such a phenomenal experience. I loved all the judges. Mandy, you were the best judge wrangler I could have hoped for in my first, judging debut. I felt confident going through the PSO application and registration and training. Then I knew with my background of 12 years, 11 years at that time of dance, and then how prepared I was through the PSO application process. And then having you, it was just like everything that I had hoped for and then more. But it was a little bit of a crazy weekend because it was my first time judging. It was my first time competing in level 5, and I had students there who were coaching, and I was trying to like schmooze all the vendors there too, just so I can get in their good graces and increase my pole dance network the way that I've been able to increase like my business community network here where I live. So looking back, I was like, I don't know how you did all that, Mikee, but you really did do all of that. So it was fun, and I'm looking forward to judging at many, many more events.
Yay. You're awesome, right? I'm always so impressed how like I'll be sitting next to you guys judging, and then all of a sudden I'll see you on stage, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, did you warm up? Are you ready? Like, how do you get all of your brain and body, everything to do all of the things?
Sometimes I feel like we perform better under the pressure. Like if I had all day to sit around and think about like how nervous I was to compete at level 5 for the first time, I probably would not have done as well as I did. So it was maybe a small blessing to be as busy as I was.
Interesting. I feel like I'm the exact opposite. I definitely need to sit alone in the corner and think about my whole life before I go on stage.
Well, in my studio, I try to coach my students and members to some of the things that I know work well for a general consensus of people that I've come into contact with. And like our number one mantra is repetition, repetition, repetition. I want my students, I want my competitors to be so confident when they walk on stage. As soon as they hear that music go, they don't have to think, they don't have to get lost in their nerves, they don't have to fear, stage fright, because I'm like, we're going to be afraid. But when that music goes, our body is going to know what to do so that our mind can just go along for the ride. So I practice what I preach. So that's how I am when I step on stage too.
I love that advice. I'll just see if
Right.
it works for me.
It becomes, what is it? Motion memory or like body memory. It's just natural. Oftentimes we don't just repeat the choreo, we focus on getting a hard trick, and it's not always about getting the hard trick.
Yeah. Yes. Well, do you have any other pole performance experience?
Um, Other than in-house showcases, like the studio that I started, we had ladies' nights, they were called. And so that was just like, an in-house showcase. We would come up with routines. We could do doubles. There were a few like during Halloween, so there were costume, themed dance routines. The studio ended up renting at that time a space in an old restaurant that had a bar. So we did like Coyote Ugly, kind of stuff, which was really fun and unique, and not something that I've been able to replicate in my studio, but we still, even though there's not Coyote Ugly dancing, we do have a Halloween party. We have, a holiday party around the winter time every year. And then I try to do like a Memorial and Labor Day. That way we can the Memorial Day is usually good because it's right at the start of our East Coast competition season. So that's a great way for our students to get used to performing for others. What we've been repetition, repetition, repetition all, January, February, March, April. And then we have competition season. And then after we, come home with our necks heavy with medals, then we get to just, have a fun performance at the end of summer after nationals, Labor Day, and just, kind of have fun for the routine instead of competing the routine. So, and then it starts all over again.
Yes, I love that you offer the dancers an opportunity to have fun as well as compete because they are two separate things. And
Yes.
sometimes we get wrapped up in the competition, we forget that it's also fun.
So I'm very blessed to I guess I would call them my two C's in my studio. So I'm Mikey with two E's, and my studio has two C's, whatever that may mean. But my two C's are competition and community. So we're always trying to foster those two things. In my area, I'm the only competition focused studio. So that is like really good for us. And we're in competition. We have competition prep, Saturday evenings when it's leading up into competition season. But I really try to focus on also bringing in the students, drop-ins, members who aren't necessarily competition focused, because I know that that's not for everyone. So we want to come, we want to network, we want to have fun, we want to meet all different levels, level 0 to level 4, level 5, whatever. Because not everyone gets to mingle if they're at different skill levels too. So the showcases are really good for building the community in our studio and then helping us foster like what kind of tasks do we want to take on for our community. Tuesday, September 18th, no, Tuesday, September 17th, we are taking our 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock evening class and meeting up with the neighborhood Facebook group and doing a community cleanup. So we'll wear gloves and take bags and pick up litter and stuff like that, because that is also a part of the community that we're trying to foster in my studio.
I love that so much. That's amazing.
I know.
Well, we're blessed to be in that community, so we're going to show our appreciation.
Right? That's a great way to give back. Like that's a real, tangible way. Yeah.
It is.
Noted.
And then hopefully anyone who walks to our studio in downtown Harrisburg, Pennsylvania won't be like, hey, what a trashy neighborhood. Because it's hard to keep these cities clean.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
So true.
So true. Do you
Oh.
have plans on performing in more competitions in the future?
So I am definitely, we love competing at, so I don't know if it was because it was my first competition or just because of I love the setup, or everyone was so great, including Chobi. When I first went to my performance when I was getting ready to, but the Atlantic competition in DC is just like, I will have to do that everywhere. It's easy for me to get to, number one, and I just love being in the Hyatt Regency. I love the conference room where it's set up. I love the stage. So I love PSO and the way that they think of stage setup and how they do the professional videos and photos. But the stage at US Nationals at DC, it's all the same setup with the little twinkly lights in the background, and it just does it for me. So that is my favorite. I love PSO Liberty. It's actually in like a theater in Philadelphia. So it's really cool for spectators who want to watch, because we're not necessarily sitting one behind another. But there's something about the DC competition. I'll just do that forever for the rest of my life. I'm thinking about adding maybe Chicago or Triangle to this upcoming competition season, just so I can go. And one of my students mentioned like, oh, well, maybe we go to Boston as well. So and I am motivated right now. I know that I'm level 5 and I can do it, and I'm working really, really hard. And I'll tell you a little about my own competition cycle and preparation in a minute. But my goal right now is to win first place at level 5. That way I can go to US Nationals. And even though I'm a baby, I'm not getting any younger. So my hunger for first place is alive and well right now. So I'm going to see what I can do to make that dream a reality.
Is you can absolutely do it.
Yes, you
Yes.
can. Yeah, I love it.
And then I can just go, and then I can, still do competition, but I can put that competition cap, on the backboard and just be coach. And like one of
Yes.
my goals, I would love, number one, in the year where the Olympics just happened in Paris, I would love for pole dance to be in the Olympics. I think that would open our community to a lot of growth and be really good for studio owners, because there's still so many people out there who don't even know pole dance is a thing. They don't know pole dance studios exist. They don't know that the Lyra is a thing. They don't know aerial silks. And they don't know the kind of terror we put our bodies through to be able to do this when nobody's recognizing us. So I would love for us to be in the Olympics, and I would love to train one of the people in my community, around my community, I don't know, from Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, to be an Olympic pole dance artist, because that sounds so cool.
Oh my gosh, I love it. My dad is always telling me, he's like, you're training Olympic athletes. Yes, Dad, I know.
Yeah, we just don't get the opportunity to go win a medal.
No. Maybe in the future. I know there are organizations who are definitely working hard on it, and hopefully soon we will see. What I wanted to ask, because you were bringing up the competitions that you always partake in, how do you create so much? Do you use the same choreo, or do you create a choreo for every competition? Because it just seems like so much work to be always creating that much for a new competition.
I learned my first competition season when I went to DC. I performed that year. It was in April. We had prepared and we were great, and I won my first bronze medal. We had May, June, and then July was Liberty, and then US Nationals was August. We didn't go to Nationals that year, but we did do Liberty. In the time when we won a medal, we took a week off and just had fun in the studio. We weren't focused on, our routine or winning medals or anything like that. When I came back, mid-May to write a new routine for Liberty, I quickly realized that a month and a half, 2 months is not enough time to come up with a new level 4 routine that fit what I wanted it to be, that I thought was medal worthy. So now we go one routine per year. And so we will perform that routine, and if we medal, that's great. If we don't medal, we work on getting it medal worthy. If we do medal, we work on getting a higher medal. And I mean, if we medal, then it's like, all right, we're going to go perform that at a different competition and see if it's medal worthy against those competitors, because each competition is its own unique aura and atmosphere as well. So it's really exciting to not have the pressure of making multiple routines. And it's been really cool to watch my students have a routine and not get a medal, work on it some more, and go. In this past competition, they won their first gold medal after not having medaled at the previous competition. So it was like, we have tangible evidence that this wasn't medal worthy. We worked really, really hard and did the things that we had to do, repetition, repetition, repetition. And then look, after all that hard work, you can win a gold medal. So it's been really cool to see that one routine per year really foster growth and achievement in the studio.
I love that, right? I never used to think about reusing a routine, but there's so much value in it because also you've got the feedback from it from the first one. Like you know what they're looking for.
That's something I was going to mention, when we got to my own competition prep, because continuously my judges' feedbacks and wow, Mikee, you're so strong. I loved your routine. It was well thought out. I know you were doing championship, but it even had a story. The clarity of concept was amazing. Stage presence, 11 out of 10, all these things. And they're like, but we didn't see any flexibility tricks. And I'll be very, very vulnerable, but I tell everyone this anyway. I have not had flexibility as a core component of my fitness for most of my life. The things that I was doing, like you don't have to be very flexible to play baseball. You don't have to be very flexible to do marching band. But I did do cheerleading for like a year and a half, and not like, but I was young. I still had my flexibility. Now I'm not that young and I have lost that over the years. So in my competition season this year, I had level 4 bronze medal and DC against some amazing competitors who all outclassed me in flexibility. So I have things up my sleeve that were level 5. I just wasn't allowed to perform them in level 4. So I'm like, all right, let's go, balls to the walls. Let's just do it. We're not getting any younger. So let's do level 5. And I have been working so hard on my split, my pancake, my forward fold, my straddle split, my shoulder flexibility. At the beginning of this year, I was not able to do a ballerina, and I can do a ballerina now. And it's not like, it's just like my shoulders after all the years of lifting weights, they don't go the same ways that they used to. So level 5 added my a shoulder mount split, which looked really good. I do have a micro bend in each leg, but it's the splittiest that I've ever been on the pole. So I was like, we're going to take it. One of the judges was like, great flexibility. I saw your micro bends, work on it. And I was like, I know, and I am. But the one judge, I showed my other competitors the judge's notes, and the one judge was like, wow, what a great showing of strength and flexibility. And my students were like, strength and flexibility? Holy cow, you've never had a judge's comment that was like that. So they noticed immediately the work that their coach, like I still have lots of work to do on myself, and they called me out and they were so proud of me, and I'm also proud of myself. So work on your flexibility. If you don't have it, you can get better, and if you have it, don't lose it.
Thank you for sharing that.
Do you want to share some of the tips and maybe training schedule you had to get your goals?
Yeah, so I am fortunate enough to have created my own career, if you will. I think I know other pole dancing hairdressers, and I think I know other hairdressing pole dancers. I don't know if I'm familiar with any salon owner, studio owners, or studio owner, salon owners. So long way to say I have the control over my schedule to be able to create my own training. So it's a lot. Monday's my only day off, which is why I can do fun things like record podcasts. Tuesday and Wednesday are my gym, like weightlifting and mobility training, followed by 3 hours of teaching courses at the dance studio. Thursday is gym in the morning, all day at the salon. Friday, same thing, gym in the morning, all day at the salon. Saturday is morning classes at the studio, late morning and afternoon and early evening at the salon. And then Sunday is a bigger chunk in the morning at my dance studio, and then a smaller chunk at the salon. And then I am off on Monday to rest and recover, and I start it all over again. So this has been going on, like November will be 3 years that I'm entering this schedule. So I am so blessed to be able to train more than I'm assuming most people with like a 9 to 5 or a business in a different industry would be able to. So I don't know that I necessarily recommend everyone training at that schedule, but that's how I have to do it to maintain both businesses and the competitors. I don't want to say physique, but like the competitor's mindset.
No, that was actually really helpful to me because I am a forward bender slash splitter and cannot do a back bend to save my life. And I really want one. So now I know a little bit of an idea of how to set up my schedule. But man,
Yeah.
you go to the gym and then you teach 3 classes.
I do. Siri sometimes, I mean, she tells me I'm doing good, but she yells at me. She's like, your goal is 880 move calories, and you are at 1,740 calories burned today. And I'm like, you're welcome. And now I have to go home and eat a like shit ton of food. So
Oh my
it's
gosh.
a lot, but it keeps me, you know, what's to say? It keeps me out of trouble. And I really feel like I'm building something that wasn't here where I am before. And I'm attracted so much to the idea of legacy. Like I want to train an Olympian, but even more than that, like I want somebody to write my Wikipedia page. That way I can just live on into the digital infinity.
I know immortality is the goal.
Be like Deadpool, be like, I am Marvel Jesus.
Yeah, that's too funny. Oh, I love that. Wow. Are you able to take breaks? How do you manage self-care with such a busy schedule?
I I do I do self-care. Like, I mean, honestly, having freedom and flexibility in my schedule and the amazing people I'm surrounded by, I'm very extroverted. Even though I'm a little bit more guarded now, just because I have so many plates in the air that I may not seem as extroverted as I am, but being around people recharges my battery. I get a massage once or twice a month. I am a huge component of like the wheel of life, if you will. So I focus on mental health, physical health, emotional health, spiritual health, financial health, career health, social health, and then like my relationship. I've been married actually September 12th, coming up in a couple of days, is my 9-year wedding anniversary. My husband and I got married 9 years ago. It wasn't legal 10 years ago. Everyone's like, you guys have been together for so long. Why is it only 9 years that you've been married? And I'm like, well, it wasn't legal 10 years ago. So I, I can't strangle the government, even though I'd like to sometimes. But we've been together, it'll be 15 years also this month. So I try to work on all of those areas to better myself care. I learned a long time ago that there's not really, and I'm a Libra, so I love balance and I love, weighing everything out until it's perfectly in alignment. I learned a long time ago that that's not necessarily constructive, because if I focus on my professional life gets better. if I focus on my personal life gets better. But if I'm focusing on one or the other one's going to suffer. So sometimes, and bless my husband, I have been like, we have to create a life for ourselves, and we have to be able to sustain that when we're tired of working. So I'm like, our life now is beautiful. We have like a great house. I try to remember now to tell everyone that like the lights you see, if you're watching this on video or on our teleconferences, is powered by sustainable energy because I have solar panels on the roof. We've been able to build like a really cool life that matches our mission. But I was like, our personal life will just have to suffer while we're building this, while we're focusing on that professional aspect. And then later on, we can look back and be like, wow, I'm so thankful that I did all of this. Number one, when I had the opportunity, but number two, when my body was still able to do this. Like, I couldn't imagine starting a pole dance studio at 55. Everyone would look at me and be like, oh, that's great, but like, what can you teach me? I'm like, a lot, but I can't show you anything. So we understand that now, and I don't want to like, nothing is bad in my life, but we're both aware that we're focusing on the personal or the professional aspect of growing our life instead of the personal. That way, later on, we can spend a lot of time enjoying our personal life together.
I love that. It's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that because I know 15 years, 9 years, and 8 years is a very long time.
Amen, honey.
Yeah. So truly, thank you for sharing that. And I appreciate you sharing how you're also working with balancing all of it, the financials, the personal business, the career, the spirituality. Because it's not easy.
You can say that again, but it's worth it. Every day I feel very fulfilled. So I believe, truly that it's worth it.
Yes, it is. Where do
I
you
was
see
wondering.
yourself in the future with pole dance? I'm curious to know this.
So in the future, I definitely have some ideas, but Mandy, was there something tied to that idea?
I was wondering if we ever mentioned what your studio was called.
Oh, I don't think we did. My studio in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania is called Metropolis Dance Studio legally. On social media, it is Metropolis HBG on Facebook because they allow spaces for pages. On Instagram, it is Metropolis underscore HBG because Metropolis Dance Studio was already taken. And I wasn't putting like 3 periods and an exclamation mark. So HBG is like the call sign for Harrisburg. So Metropolis underscore HBG. And then on TikTok, I showcase things only from the studio. And that's at MetroMikee or Mikey Benz. That's my last name. So searching either of those will take you to my page. And a little caveat into how I got Metropolis. My logo is super cute. It's it's almost like the Superman shape. And on the inside, it has an M instead of an S. And then there's a silhouette of me doing like a split grip pole dance, just standing by the pole. And it kind of all tied together. So my name, my social media name is MetroMikee. My salon is called MetroMikees. So I was trying to think of a 10-letter word that had metro in it, and it just happened to be Metropolis. So Metropolis. And it was the Superman logo because that was Superman's like hometown. Like he lived in Metropolis, and Batman was in Gotham City, and I call all of my students my superheroes because we spend all day just flying through the air like a superhero. So it kind of all tied in. I feel like I'm leaving these little Illuminati nuggets for when somebody writes my Wikipedia page. They were like, this Mikey guy, he was so thoughtful and crazy.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes,
Very clever with all the names you
right?
create. And
And
we will
all
have
of that is housed under my parent company, Metro Enterprises. You can go to metroenterprisesonline.com because Metro Enterprises was already taken. So metroenterprisesonline.com, and there's links to all my businesses. And I have an art gallery in my salon that I showcase local artists like once a month or once a quarter, depending on how long they want to be shown. I've sold a lot of good art through my salon, and I love curating that space because I know what it's like to be a starving artist, as a pole dance artist, as a hairdresser. So it's another way I try to give back to my community. So that's all the places you can find me, and Metropolis Dance Studio in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Love
Yes, we
it.
have all those links in the comments and the descriptions, y'all, if you're listening and watching. Were you able to send us those? I was checking out the email. Have you sent us all of that information yet?
I don't think so.
I have
You'll
not.
to
I
be
was reading.
sent.
I was reading back through the stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, I have homework to do. So we're
So
gonna send my whole pitch deck over.
I love it. We're still gonna have all of that in the captions and descriptions though for everyone.
Yeah.
So make sure y'all click those links.
Yes. Wait, do you so the studio that you're in, do you just have a regular sound studio in your house? What is this for?
So I always call this my broadcast studio. I used to call it my YouTube studio, but then my YouTube turned into only videos of our competitions. So I was like, well, it's not really my YouTube studio anymore. So now it's just my broadcast studio. But I recorded 2 episodes of a podcast this morning because I love being a guest star. I don't have time to create my own podcast, but like my dream is to be and I don't know if anyone's going to recognize this reference at all, but my dream is to be Robin, who was Howard Stern's like right hand woman. Like, not have all the pressure of being like I own 2 businesses, I'm a community member. Like, I don't need to be the star of a podcast, but I would love to just like sit in the side and be like, huh, interesting. Oh, let me add or interject here. Or, just kind of sit smugly in the corner and
The
and
voice
talk
of
whenever I'm
reason.
needed. So I have my broadcast studio for that, for the recurring guest roles. One day I might have a podcast, but I need to finish training all the other employees that I have right now. And I am also a proud founding member of the Green Beauty Community, which is a 501c nonprofit organization trying to bring together the beauty industry, makeup artists, hair artists, photographers, fashion people, estheticians, tattoo artists, like all the people in the beauty space. To further our education for protecting the environment, and also helping foster sustainability in terms of like keeping our businesses open. It's still a crazy world after the pandemic. So we need to continually be strategizing how we're going to do better, how we're going to deal with the now, whatever that may be, and how we're going to continue to be better in the future while maintaining our love and respect for the planet. So I need my studio to do all of that.
I love it. Right. I don't know if the people listening can't see, but it is a pretty high-tech looking studio back there.
Oh, I was observing. I love the Pokeball on the back. I love the microphone. I need a microphone like that. Oh, you are just so inspiring, living the dream. I would love to be able to give back to the community, like as I grow as well. And I love to see that other people are doing out there and it can be done. So thank you so much.
I feel like it's just like always been a part of me, and some of that may have started as like childhood trauma where like I felt like I had to give more than I ever took. uh um Now I'm lucky that I have been able to learn what I've learned, and I love giving back, but I never do it, and I think this is important. I never do it to the point where it's building negative emotions or resentment in me. So I'm very clear about what my boundaries are, and I give as much as I can as long as it doesn't cross those boundaries.
Right? Because the intention behind it is more powerful. Yeah.
That is exactly
Oh,
right.
Well, thank you for bringing all of the giving back ideas because it's sometimes really hard for like I in our studio we always try to give back, but sometimes like donating is not always the best way and like these are real tangible ways you've given some really good examples that we can all do in our communities.
Yeah.
I'm happy to inspire, and I would just say if we're looking for ways to give back, um, I think one of the easiest and yet maybe most anxiety inducing is just posting on our social medias. So there's nothing stopping anyone when they wake up and take their phone off the charger from being like, good morning, here's my favorite pole dance grip. I'm going to share it with all of you. Good morning, here's my trick I'm going to be working. Good morning, here's my training schedule. You want a deep insight into my life? Like I'll share my training schedule with you. Um, good morning, Instagram story followers. I am having trouble with flexibility. Help, because asking for help can be a great way for other people, to give back. It's answering your prayers through them. So it gives them a chance to be needed, heard, felt, seen, stuff like that. So going out and cleaning up the community, doing education, like all of that is fun, but like just posting on social media can make the world a better place too.
I'm glad you said that. I had the same mind frame. I just wasn't sure and you verified it. Like just share it, give a piece of yourself to show. Yeah.
I've met so many amazing people and I get on them all the time because they don't post anything. And I'm like, look, we all know it's a highlight reel. Post your highlights. Come on, I want to see. People will, call me or they'll be in an appointment and I'm, sometimes I love doing hair, but I put my whole heart and soul into it. Or, even teaching at the dance studio, I'm like, all right, I'm upside down. I'm trying to show you how to go from an outside leg hang, to a holly drop. And like, here, look at pictures of what my dog did on Tuesday. I'm like, no, post that on social media. I'll look at your stories later and I can see it on my own time. Like, I'm doing something right now. So just posting it allows it's almost like chivalrous, like it's polite now. Just post it and I'll get to it when I get to it.
I love it.
Setting those boundaries.
Yes, and making the world a better place for other people who will get to it before I do.
Yeah. Too funny. Do you have any other pole dance philosophies along the that you want to share that we're talking about philosophy?
Yes. Our mantra for training is repetition, repetition, repetition. Just a mantra for life in and outside of the studio is going to be a goal without a deadline. It's just a dream. So we can dream about things all day. One day, I want to be able to do a rainbow Marchenko. If I don't put small, tiny, achievable goals to get there, I'm just going to dream about it until I'm no longer here on this earth or no longer capable of doing it anyway. So, a goal without a deadline is a dream. It's just a dream. And I know that we have a couple more mantras. I don't know if any. No, I'll share one more. And this goes back to social media too. Done is better than perfect. So if I'm trying to train something, just the act of doing it is going to be more helpful than waiting until I have it perfect, which newsflash, if you're not practicing it, it's never going to be perfect. So done is better than perfect. If you're posting on social media, people just want to see your dog. It doesn't have to be your dog doing 5, backflips in a row. We just want to see your dog. Maybe one day they'll get there, maybe not. So done, just share it with the world. Just share it with your community. Just share it with your spouse, your neighbor. Done is better than perfect.
Love it. Thank you for sharing those philosophies.
Yeah.
And then,
Okay. Go ahead, Mandy.
oh no, I was going to pop back to the question that you brought up was where do you see yourself in 5 years?
So in 5 years, I touched on a few of these things. I would love to, well, in 5 years, let me go backwards, because another thing that I love for, philosophy is if you set a goal, it's great. We want a deadline on it, but 10x it. So if you want to make $1,000 teaching pole dance, we're gonna 10x it. $1,000 a year, a month, or whatever. So now it's $10,000. And if we don't hit $10,000, but we hit $3,000, we've already done better than $1,000. So if we set a goal, 10x it, and then see where you get to. So in 5 years, I want to either have a second location or move completely from the location that I'm at now, which is amazing. I love my location. I love it's a building from 1930s Art Deco era, which is exactly what Superman's comic book was drawn in. So there's another theme that ties in. It's a relatively small studio, has one main room. I have enough room for like 4 apparatuses. So we have competition poles set up approximately 8 feet apart. I think they might be a little bit more than that, and they're 12 feet high. So my studio is competition regulation, and I set it up like that on purpose. The room is a square. The competition poles are diagonal from each other. So on the opposite diagonal from the other corner to the other corner, we have 2 spaces for like a hanging apparatus, like silks, lyra, flying pole, something like that. So it's great to start out, and it was what I could afford and what I could devote time to initially, already having a full-time business to run. So it's like, this is perfect. 12-foot ceilings, 12-foot poles, set it up like competition. We have grown, thankfully, to the point where we're adding new instructors because we can fill the space, but we haven't filled the day. So we're taking the same space that we have, and we're going to work really hard to continue growing. And we're going to add more classes. That way, even if people can't come to the full classes now, there's still other classes where we can utilize that same building. And then we're just going to grow the heck out of ourselves. Maybe add more instructors, maybe add different, like I would love to. And the only reason I don't now is because I just haven't made it a priority to put a little call out on our social medias for our area. I would love to have people, like I have the pole away system from X-Pole, so I can lift the poles and take the hanging apparatuses down, and somebody can come teach ballet or tap or jazz or calisthenics or mobility or flexibility or yoga. So like we're going to grow the studio to that. So my 5-year goal is to have grown the studio so much that we don't fit there anymore. And we either have to, split and let studio manager stay in that location, or I'll stay in that location. And the studio manager can take, half of the students and be in a second location, or we just need to move to a bigger location.
You have this all planned out. I love this. This is exciting. I can't wait to see what happens.
If anyone's, so I luckily was able to be profitable my first year in business, which it wasn't a lot of profit, but we didn't go backwards. So that was good. I was like, how long can I funnel money from one business into the other? Luckily, we were at a break even and had a little bit of profit. So from there, like the business is kind of self-sustainable now. But there are a lot more things than just like knowing how to do an Aisha or being able to run a social media page to make a business profitable, let alone make a business profitable in its first year. So I'm going to take the opportunity and do a little plug. I am a panelist at Virtual PoleCon. I believe it's October 26th is the Saturday. And I'm going to be one of the panelists leading the pole business segment. So I'm super excited to share all of that. So if you haven't gotten your ticket, get your ticket, and I'll see you there so I can share many, many more tips, tricks, and Clubhouse Nuggets, I think was what we were doing during the pandemic.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for sharing that information, because so many of us are just dancers turned business owners.
And if I wouldn't have been a starving artist, hairdresser trying to do stuff in my kitchen, and turn that crazy dream into a functioning business that's also been profitable and has been able to, help the community, but also give me a really nice life. I wouldn't have been able to bring that knowledge into the pole dance arena in a place. And I will tell you, central Pennsylvania, where Harrisburg is, it's between Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. Those are known to be open-minded, accepting places. That's not always the case where I am. So if I didn't have a sound business plan, I would not have succeeded where I was.
Amazing.
The plan is everything. Oftentimes we just rush into it. Oh, we haven't asked my favorite one.
I
Go
was
ahead, Nick.
thinking that too. We didn't ask at all. What is your favorite pole trick?
So I'm really in love with twisted handspring. It was one of the first things that I felt like separated me from the other. I don't want to say separated me, but it gave people that wow factor, because like I could travel to Pittsburgh, or I could go to DC and I could find a tree, or I could find, a street sign, and be like, next thing you know, you're doing a human flag. And everyone's like, I've been going to the gym for 10 years and I can't do that. And I'm like, well, come to pole dance class. I'll teach you. So that is my favorite. I love the variations like twisted Aisha. I love the twisted pencil, and the thing that really gets everyone from this previous routine is doing the variations and then doing the twisted plank, where I just hold myself straight out, not like an iron X to the side, but with shoulders and chest facing the ceiling, and just holding it for as long as I can. So that's my favorite. But I'm really in love with the Allegra right now, because I've been working on my flexibility, and
Yes.
I can do like each half of the move. Like if my top hand goes behind the leg, I can get that down. And if my top hand goes in front of the leg, I can reach my foot with the bottom hand to the bottom foot. But I can't put it all together yet. So will you just watch? There's going to be one in my routine next year. So that's my favorite to work on right now.
Hell yeah, I'm gonna scream so loud.
I'm like, oh, I'm upside down in an Allegra, and that's Mandy.
I'd be like, ah!
I love it.
Hell yeah.
So inspiring.
The second part of that question is,
Your pole nemesis, if any.
Literally anything split. The diva split, the shoulder mount split, the like I would love to have, what is it, a Marian Amber. I like all of those things are so beautiful. The Rainbow Marchenko, J Allegra, like all of those things are so beautiful. I think there's an elbow hold split, where you're just on your elbow hold and you stick your leg up like it's a needle split, and then nothing else is holding the pole. And I'm like, dreamy. That's so breathtaking. One day I may never be able to do that, but I'm going to dream and I'm going to love it. And it's going to be my nemesis until I can.
right, you trained enough to get your flexibility for some splits. You can get all the splits. You're almost there.
Yes, I turned 37, so my goal is to do all the splits by 40. I think
Yes.
that's pretty reasonable. But yeah, because I said like a goal without a deadline is just a dream. So
That's funny. I'm hoping to get my needle scale by 50,
Yes.
which is
okay.
now in 7 years, and so I need to work on that.
I started working on my split 2 years ago in August. I was like, all right, I'm gonna make it a point. I'm gonna train it all the time. I'm so close. Like especially if I'm nice and warm and it's a hot day, I am like 2 to 3 inches, and I just am working so hard to close that gap.
I can't wait for you. It's such a good feeling when you feel them touch the floor.
I can't wait. I
Yes.
am going to do it. And
So,
so let me, I respect so much the person who got me into pole dance, who like wasn't my friend, was Evgeny Grishilov. And I watched his video, and that's what I was like, this crazy lady had me to her studio. She hired me. What am I gonna do? And like I watched videos and I was like, okay, this is like what he can do. I want to be him when I grow up. And so today I still like fangirl on all of his Instagrams. Like I follow his Facebook. No one's on Facebook anymore except me following what he's doing. Like I'm the only one. But he has inspired me. And like if I can be flexible, strong, mobile, have the great stamina like he can, like that's what I'm gonna work towards.
I'm gonna have to check him
Yeah.
out. I feel like I've heard Gresham, but I don't know. I know I don't follow him. And it's Gainy Gresham.
Evgeny, like to use a westernized pronunciation, E Evgeny, Evgeny. But I think like pronounced over there is Yevgeny.
I'm with you with the flexibility. I love any like inspiration, like just seeing another man do it. I'm like, yes, I can do it with the work if I put it in.
And I remember watching Dmitry Politov before
Yes.
he had a pole dance camp in every beautiful sunny tropical location that exists. I remember watching Alex Shukin, who was also like doing some crazy things, concerning strength and flexibility. So these are some really cool shoulders of giants moments. Like I feel like I'm only who I am, and I am not at their level. I'm okay with that. I'm doing what I'm doing, but like I'm only who I am because I was inspired by them during the formative moments of my pole dance career.
I love that. I hope you get to meet them someday if you haven't already.
Let me knock on wood so you don't jinx me.
Uh, I feel mine. I think who was mine? It was the Poe Wizard, but mostly Adam Lynn. I don't know if you've heard of Adam Lynn. I
Yes, we're friends on Instagram and Facebook, me and Adam Lynn. And I know the Pole Wizard, I was in a private Facebook group with him before the Pole Wizard was even born. He took a hiatus from pole for a little while and then came back and was like, all right, I'm the Pole Wizard. And I'm so proud of what he's been doing. Like I don't know if he shares his real name anymore, but I know him by his real name, his government name.
We
So
do
yes,
too.
these are people who are I'm in love with Dan Rosen, like who was not who Dan Rosen is now when I was starting. Like the I'm just so proud of everyone, and I wish I had been able to go along on that journey, but I had to focus on like my main career so that I can join you all now.
Facts.
Right? There's no timeline or time limit for the pole dance journey, and it goes like this.
Yes.
My hands are everywhere for those who can't see.
I was like, the people listening to the podcast are going to be like,
It goes like this. Space. Empty.
cricket, 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 cricket.
Funny.
But I think
We
I
already
think
know
I
his
saw the
muggle job, which I don't really think is a muggle job because owning a salon, that's like artistry there. Muggle job is like that corporate 9 to 5 in my opinion.
I can't do it. I never could do it. I went straight from like newspaper route to babysitting and dog sitting and house kitting the neighborhood. Like 11, I got a paper route. I moved away from there. There was no paper route where I lived. house sitting, babysitting, dog sitting. Got a job at Taco Bell as my first, like, muggle job, if you will. I was 16, so I go to school, I get my homework done in class. I was always a little bit of an overachiever. And then I'd go to work and I'd work, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. I'd go home, sleep, eat, repeat, do it all over again. When my parents are military. I was living in Germany at the time when this was going on. I moved back to the US to graduate from a school that had many more extracurriculars than what the Department of Defense could offer in the American schools abroad. I switched food, like fast food, fast casual concepts into serving. And that's when I realized that like the little section of tables that I was assigned turned into my own business. I could run it as efficient, as expedient, as polite, as friendly as I wanted to. And like I made all the money. I'm telling you, if there was, and I know that we're destigmatizing stripping and we pay homage to that. And there's a whole big, beautiful world of pole dance. But like there is nowhere for a gentleman to strip in my area. I would have to like drive very far to get there. But if there was, honey, just like I did in that little section in the restaurant, I would make all the money. Whew. So I've always kind of like been in that business art, like the art of the deal, the art of charisma, like making people feel how I think and how they deserve to be like treated and how they should feel.
I love that. Maybe you can make the first male strip club out there.
I'm doing enough.
That is so true. But I definitely understand that. The one male strip club we have out here, I did it for a year and it was it wasn't what I'd hoped to be, unfortunately. It was fun, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the politics, like run by people who have never been strippers who just don't care.
Well, it sounds like they need to enlist in some MetroMikee's business coaching.
Yes.
Yes. Always marketing. I love it. Too funny. Wait, then what are things coming soon? Is there anything else you would like to share? Any advice or tips or anything else you want to plug? Or any
No, I think I've like covered everything. I see I have to save a couple things for my follow-up episode. I'm trying to be your Robin. Come on now. Like I need y'all to have me back so I can sit in the corner and be like,
yes, honey.
can't give it all all away in the first episode.
I love it.
But I
Yes.
will say that I do love connecting with people. I have a caveat with that. So find me on social media, hit me up. The website, I think, has the email. Like if you need to email me a question. Oh, another way that I can answer any questions that people might have is leaving a rating and review. And we can scour the episode and see what questions anyone has. The more stars you leave, the quicker your question will get answered. um, but no, I love connecting with everyone and something I just remember that I do want to share, and I've told this to my students and community and like hair clients and family members. The pole dance and aerial arts community is the most supportive, open-minded, accepting, transparent, willing community I have ever found. Like there is no, even in competitions, we're like, okay, we got to compete against this person. We want to win a medal. We want to do all the things. And we're going to cheer for them the whole time that they're on stage too. And I think that there's great things about competition, but there's even better things about like collaboration and camaraderie and community, to use that word again. So if anyone is listening to this who's on the fence about joining the pole dance and aerial arts or stripper community, just do it because we are literally, no one's in our corner. So we're all in each other's corners. So I try to tell everyone like, there's no hairdresser community that's like that. Sometimes, we've been told that we are a little catty, And so in all the things that I've experienced in the industries that the people around me are, no one is like the pole dance community. So definitely like become a part of it. And if you're already a part of that community, we need to keep that, because what we have is something special. Nowhere else has it.
That is
I
so
love that you
true.
say that. Thank you for sharing that. Because just from doing this podcast, the things I have learned and the collaboration and the opportunities I've been afforded because of it, and you're 100% right. There is no other industry. If you try to get into yoga, it's not going to be like that. Personal fitness, it's not going to be like that. That was a beautiful thought. Thank you for that.
Yes. Right. Even like the regular dance world where I was brought up in, it's definitely not anything like the pole dance world. Like I grew so much more as an artist because I was able to in the pole dance world, uh, and not so
Yes.
much in the other worlds. So thank you, pole dancing.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, Mikey, for all of your inspirational words and like all of the things that you left us with by just telling us about your amazing journey.
It's been a whirlwind, and if I can inspire or help motivate somebody else just by sharing like what I've been through, that's great. And then if there's no like if we don't keep this going, there's not going to be anything in the future. So we just have to keep it going.
Yes,
Yes.
100%.
OMG, I am so glad I met you. I did not know much about you, and it was such a pleasure to get to know you. You are so inspiring. You have accomplished a lot of things I've wanted to, and I love to see another gay man doing it. Thank you so much.
Yay.
Thank you. It's been such an honor to be here, and I am so appreciative of the time, and I can't wait to have the episode drop so I can share it with everyone too. And then I'll be ready for episode 2.
Yes.
I can't wait, and hopefully one day we'll get to dance together.
Yes.
Yes, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yes.
So
Right.
when
And
is this? So
if
okay.
you do come to PSO Northeast, please let us know because we are all there.
Northeast is
The
Boston.
Boston one, yeah.
Yeah.
November.
Well, nothing's promised yet, but I will keep everyone updated as plans become more clear.
Sounds
Yeah.
awesome.
And this episode is scheduled for October 3rd, right? Thursday?
Yeah.
Yay! OMG. Oh, just in time too, because then you have PoleCon the week after.
Oh, yeah, so that'll be good.
Oh yeah. Hey, couldn't have planned that better myself.
Right? It'll be right in time to make sure everyone catches you at virtual PoleCon.
Yes.
I'm so excited for it. I've never done anything like this, so I'm very confident that I'm going to bring a lot of value to the table. But I'm just as nervous as I was to be on this podcast, to be a panelist.
Aw, I feel like
You're
that's
gonna
normal though. It will never go away.
No, and it keeps me grounded. It keeps me from making like stupid mistakes, if you will.
Right? Yeah. Right. Someone once told me they were like, if you don't get nervous, then there's something wrong. And I always think about that because that makes me feel better.
I know we're going on 100 plus
Right?
episodes. It's still nerve-wracking.
I know, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Well, congratulations on that. That's a huge milestone.
Oh, thank
Thank
you.
you. Truly, thank you.
I don't
We
know if you're familiar with Gary V or Gary Vaynerchuk. He's like a business guru, but he gets asked occasionally. He has podcasts and YouTube shows. He gets asked occasionally to be a guest on their podcast, and they're like, if you make it to 100 episodes, I'll be episode 101. So you might want to DM him and be like, hey, we hit 100 episodes. We're this crazy pole dance podcast. Have you ever been on one of those? I might join you. And he has like 12 million followers on whatever platform and yada yada yada, so get some exposure there.
OMG.
Noted.
I know, right? Gary Vaynerchuk.
Gary V. Gary VEE, two E's.
101st episode all the time.
But it is a challenge to do 100 of anything. Trust me, I've asked my dance students to do 100 forward spins. Like, whoo, herding kittens and pulling teeth. So like 100 podcast episodes, like I just have to commend you on that, because that is not easy. And a lot of people have tried for that goal and have given up. So kudos to you.
Thank you. It's really because of y'all.
Yeah.
We love to share your stories. And it's like you said, the collaboration and network is beautiful. And we're so glad we can do this to share such incredible stories like yourselves.
Yes.
I'm really bad at taking compliments. So my therapist says just say thank you and keep it moving.
You did it. Yeah.
You made it. And it was over an hour too. No nerves, you did it.
Right. I guess on that note, we should thank all of our listeners and watchers for hanging out for us for this wonderful episode of Pull the Call Podcast. My name is Mændy Mac.
And I'm Cris Rivers. Ooh.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mikee. This was awesome.
It was.
Thank you all for having me.
Hell yeah.
It's truly our pleasure. I'm excited to see what's in store for you.